morning tip. Russell Westbrook snatching 18 boards last night. Now he needs 16 more on Wednesday to average a triple-double for the season. Again, will he get it?
I hope he does. I mean, I think, you know, they need to go all out there to make sure he gets it.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're clearing the way. Look, he's going to have every opportunity to get it. Let me put it that way.
He got a motor to get it, though. You got to have that motor.
You got to have that motor. That's true. Not anyone can go out there and do it, but it also helps when your teammates are all...
Here's what I never have a problem. Okay, but I never have a problem with that because when he gets a triple-double, their record is great. So if the name of the game is to win, and when he does that, they tend to win.
That's the name of the game for me.
I don't want to derail the monologue, so I'm going to just leave it at that.
Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. I am back.
He's
the
back.
dynamic duo here is back.
Yeah, A-team right here. A-team.
Our insider, Amin Al-Hassan, 2003 champ.
That's the
Steven
guy right there.
Jackson.
The birthday boy.
Thank y'all for the birthday love, too. I love you guys.
This is 40.
Thank you.
So the playoffs don't technically start until this weekend, but let's not kid ourselves. There's already plenty of winner-go-home type stuff happening in the NBA right now. Some teams are jockeying to make the playoffs. Other teams are jockeying for seeding. Still, other teams are jockeying for DeAndre Ayton. It's madness out there, people.
Yeah.
Last night, we had two big developments. Both the Thunder and the Spurs won their games, which officially clinched them postseason berths. Now, we can debate whether a team with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Steven Adams should be happy about needing until just 2 days before the end of the season to clinch a playoff spot. Still, regardless of how they got there, they are indeed there, and they certainly seem to have some promise as first-round spoilers. As for the Spurs, who needs Kawhi Leonard when you've got Manu Ginobili? Grandpa scored or assisted on 16 of the Spurs' final 23 points to eke San Antonio past Sacramento and extend the team's playoff streak to 21 seasons. That is good, apparently, by the way. And hey, it's also as long as starting point guard DeJounte Murray has been alive, so good for that. All right, now it was not as good a night for the Trailblazers. Remember last month when it didn't seem like they could lose a game even if they spotted the other team 50?
We had them locked in.
Well, now they can't seem to win one. They have been trying to clinch home court for the last 3 games in a row, but missed it again last night as they lost to a desperate Denver team. Now, as for the Pelicans, they stayed in the playoff hunt by beating the already burned Clippers. It was a somewhat lifeless game, although it did produce.
You got some highlights?
Right? Look at this.
Off the backboard.
On. Anthony Davis's arms need their own zip code. This was just ridiculous.
Look at this guy. Oh, my God.
That Pels Clips game also produced this moment where Boban is basically playing keep away. Do you think that 80 is 6'11"? Do you think anyone has ever done this before?
Never.
I mean, you know that is destined to live in your gift folder. And yes, by the way.
Look at him, look at him, look at it.
It is a hard G. Don't at me, people. Anyway, back to NBA. Over Minnesota, it is.
The guy who invented it calls it GIF. I'm going to call it GIF.
G is for graphic. Graphic. We're done. Butler, Jimmy, also in a giving mood to the internet. Speaking of gifts. Basically making sure as he hit the floor, he would become a meme in real time. But the actual Timberwolves game against Memphis, a little bit less of a laughing matter. Oh, the Wolves came from behind and won, thanks in part to Derrick Rose. Nice pass, right?
Nice.
But take a look at the Grizzlies starting lineup for this game.
This is going to Springfield, these guys?
This is not a crew that Minnesota should have had to come from behind on. After the game, Butler called his team, quote, soft. For, well, it wasn't the first time he said that. And now the Wolves are in danger of missing the playoffs entirely. Yet again, for the 14th year in a row. Indeed, Minnesota's next game against the Nuggets tomorrow night has become a play-in game. Well, look, Wednesday's a hard word. Don't.
Wednesday. They said it like they spelled it like I say it.
Think about the game. Don't think about the spelling. Look, this is a huge game, though, really, because whichever team wins it will advance to the playoff bracket. Whichever team loses, goes home. See, I told you, it's madness out here.
I just noticed there's Elmo with the world on fire.
Elmo Butler.
We wouldn't have it any other way, right? We wouldn't have it any other way here on The Jump. Certainly, that is for sure. Things never go how they're supposed to go. Tell me who you trust more, though, because this Wednesday game, I was with Chauncey and Paul Pierce last night, and through the Denver game that they were playing last night, which they had to win to make it a play-in game, sorry, Portland, but the guys were like so rooting for Denver because they just wanted this Wednesday night game that would be so cool. Who do y'all trust more?
Well, I mean, by the way, Portland has a must-win game against Utah as well tomorrow. Tomorrow's a great game for basketball, great day for basketball, but I trust the Nuggets, man. They're on a hot streak. Gary Harris was out for a lot of it. He's back now as of last night. This is a team that has all the momentum coming into this game. I think you're in Minnesota. You know that on January, whatever, February 1st, we were talking about you. Maybe the third best team in the West. Maybe there's a separation between you and the rest of the teams. And now we come down to this, and you know the stakes are high. I don't trust them. I trust the Nuggets.
You know, the Nuggets have been playing well. I don't want to agree with you because I never do, but I have to now. I just feel like with Portland, they've been playing at a top 3 team level all year. I think they can find it. And I think with the sense of urgency.
Okay, but this is Denver or the Timberwolves?
I thought we were talking about Portland.
Yeah, I know. That was last night.
Okay.
All right, so Denver or the Timberwolves. They play Wednesday.
Jimmy Butler, of course. Even with him calling out Wiggins.
See, this is good. See, you don't agree with him,
yeah.
so you're good.
So even with Jimmy Butler calling out Wiggins, I think it's enough of that. Like, they've been calling him out forever.
In fact, doesn't that bother you, though? Like it's the day before. We still, their playoff lives are on the line. They're playing against the Grizzlies that Rachel pointed out are starting a bunch of guys.
But I like the experience effect of the coach and Jimmy Butler. I don't see nobody.
Can't save him, though.
I don't see nobody on the other team having that what Jimmy Butler has and what he brings to that time. And Carl Anthony Towns has been playing great ball since Jimmy Butler's been out.
Look, this is a Stars League. In the end, if I have to make a decision, I would normally predict. I don't like predictions, but I would trust the team with more stars, right? Because that's the way NBA works. I do want to get to the Wiggins issue, though, you mentioned, because, look, the Wolves did struggle against that Grizzlies team. Even their biggest fans couldn't pick some of these Grizzlies players out of the lineup. Afterwards, Jimmy Butler called out his teammates. Here's what he told The Athletic. Quote, "We were just playing soft. We tend to do that from time to time. Whenever we play hard, a lot of good things happen. I think everybody, no matter the talent level, if you can't read between the lines here, we'll help you. You go out there and compete, and you do their job. But above all else, you just play harder than everyone." So, okay, I'm actually going to do this stack because I know how you do it.
I'll do it for Jimmy Butler.
Go ahead.
Wiggins, you have to play harder, okay? It's hard for Jimmy Butler just to call you out at the end of the season, you know, because some guys can't take it. But damn that, Jimmy. Pull him to the side and let him know you need him. You need him to play at an all-star level. He's getting paid $100-something million. He needs to produce. He needs to care about the game. And it's time to stop sending subliminal messages and go directly at him and let him know it's him.
He probably went directly at him in closed doors. But my thing, Stack, is that's the kind of message for February. No question. That's not April 11th, April 10th.
Exactly right.
We can't have that conversation at this point of the year. And to me, that's the thing that scares me about Minnesota. And I don't think it's just Wiggins. I think it's Towns too. I think that
I
disagree.
I'm with Stack. I like what Karan
the talent is there. But I've heard whispers and murmurs all year long about this is a guy that cares a lot more about that last line on the sheet of paper when it's over than W or L.
I don't love that. I don't love because here's what I know. I can judge Carl on what happens on the court, and he has made some significant. He's still young. He's made some significant strides in the second half of the season.
Career judgments. We're just talking about right now.
Huge talent. I do not think in any way he is a problem for Minnesota. I think he is an asset for Minnesota.
I didn't call him a problem.
My question about Wiggins, and this is something that I have never in the NBA, so I would like you to explain to me. When you say something like, oh, you have to try, you have to want to play, I find it hard to believe that Andrew Wiggins is not going out on the court and trying. This is what he is doing 24 hours a day. He is going through hours of practice and training and in the room and all the stuff that you guys do to your body. I mean, it is a work to be an NBA player. You're telling me that when you get to the actual playing part, which is the most fun part of this job, he's not out there wanting to play? That doesn't register with me quite.
Well, as a player, you see that a lot, Rach. You see a lot of guys come into this game and get the money, get complacent, and not really care. And you have guys on that team that's seen this guy get 40 points, that's seen him lock down guys. When you're not consistent with that, when you show up to the game some night not engaged, that sends something to your team is that you really don't care and you're not with us. And when you the star player and they have to say that, it's really a problem.
Right.
And then the owner tried to address it before he signed. So we know it's who they talking about.
Stack, let me ask you a question. Though. There are players that they think they're playing hard, but they don't know how to play hard.
Right.
And you've been on teams where you walked in and said, "You think you playing hard?"
You're not.
You're
Exactly.
Not, right. So. I feel like I know Jimmy's been there all year long, but that's the thing that we talked about in January.
Right. Well,
Jimmy
that's partly his role, right?
And Taj and Tibbs, they're there to help these guys. They're not here to save them. They've got to, like, at some point, it's a personal responsibility. As Wiggins and Towns, it's their team. It's not Jimmy's team. Even though Jimmy's the best player on the team, Jimmy knows we'll go as far as those guys lead us.
Exactly.
And Tibbs knows that, and Taj knows that, and Jamal knows that, and all the vets know that. But this isn't Philadelphia.
Some doesn't know that. With us.
Yeah, exactly. These guys have to lead.
I do want to, you mentioned Taj. I want to shout out Taj Gibson
good
because
point.
he played with like almost a broken neck last night. He went through all this rehab, then had to pull out. He wants to play again tomorrow. I give him a lot of credit. All right, Spurs clinching their 21st straight trip to the playoffs last night after beating the Kings. We're going to talk about whether Pop is being overlooked for Coach of the Year after what he did without Kawhi this season. Where do you put him?
Well, Pop is like LeBron with me in this category, in this situation. LeBron could be MVP every year. Pop could be Coach of the Year every year. You know, and that's just what it is. I mean, I don't think
two awards.
I'm going to do producer Danny, producer Steve a favor and not launch into the MVP conversation now. I'm going to stick to Coach of the Year. Go ahead, Steven.
Well, I mean, like I said, Pop, everybody loves Pop, you know, to make the playoffs and have 50-win seasons for so long, even with having your best player out. It says a lot about him as a coach, but you know, he could be Coach of the Year every year, and he should be in them talks every year. Definitely.
Greg Popovich is not only the best coach in the league, he's the best coach of all time, in my opinion. I've said that many a time.
I agree, too.
What he's been able to do and switch styles, it's not normal. It's the reason why I think Dwayne Casey's the Coach of the Year this year, because he switched his style. As an ode to Pop, that's why I'm giving Casey that great credit there. But I want to say one thing about something that's happened this year, and it's the Kawhi Leonard situation and the way they've handled it, particularly Pop. I think that's part of coaching, man. And I don't necessarily agree with how they've handled the Kawhi Leonard situation. And so that would be my biggest demerit against his case for this year, Coach of the Year. But like Stack said, he's like LeBron. We could literally give it to him every single year, and no one will argue.
I think it's tough with the Kawhi situation because frankly, we don't know everything.
I mean, we know how they're handling it. The way it's coming.
We would only know how they're handling it if we knew what it was.
Well,
so I know that you've been uncomfortable with some of the public statements, and that's totally fair. Since we don't know what it is, it's a little hard to make a larger case judgment. I think eventually this will be a very good 30 for 30, but
oh man,
we'll have to,
if they start talking
for that. Coming up, are the Thunder peaking at the right time? But first, here's our distant replay. I love when they're old. This is this date, 1993, and we got a Spitty sighting.
Smitty from the city?
Point blank.
On the baseline?
She just keeps hanging in this game.